Hey guys, it's Miss Carlson again. Today we're going to talk about what makes something a physical property or a chemical property and what kinds of changes are considered physical versus chemical. And all of this information is covered in Chapter 2 if you need to reference it later. And make sure you have the Chapter 2 Physical versus Chemical Notes handout available and printed off from the Schoology site, or if you picked it up from me in class ready to go as you watch the lecture. Alright, the first thing we're going to talk about is physical properties, and that is any characteristic of a material that can be observed or measured without changing the composition of the substances in the material. So this is just something we kind of observe just by looking at it, feeling it, touching it, whatever it may be through our senses. And these are some common physical properties: malleability, viscosity, boiling point, conductivity, hardness, melting point, and density. If any of these things changed, it would just be a physical change rather than a chemical change. Now, on your handout there are these 7 examples and the definitions. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and see if you can match them up properly, and we will go over that in class. So what are some things that are evidence of a physical change? Well, this occurs when some of the properties of a material change, but the substances in the material remain the same. So this means during a physical change, the size and shape of a material might change, but not its actual composition. And in the background there, one of your examples is just melting butter in a pan. We're not changing the composition, we're just going from one state to another, a solid to a liquid. Different size, different shape, but the composition at this point has not been manipulated. Therefore, it would just be physical. So most physical changes are reversible. Like if an ice cube melts in your hand, you could refreeze the water into an ice cube if you put it back into a cold enough environment. And now we're going to talk about chemical properties. And this is any ability to produce a change in the composition of matter. So if the substance's molecular structure is actually manipulated and changed, then that would be a property that would be considered chemical and would also be evident of a chemical change. But first of all, the two main properties that are chemically related are flammability, which is a material's ability to burn in the presence of oxygen, and reactivity, or how readily a substance combines chemically with other substances. So some ways that we can identify if there has been a chemical change: a substance reacts and then can form one or more new substances. So it might look completely different. Sometimes it may change in color, but you have to be careful about changes in color, because changes in color can sometimes be mistaken for physical changes. Like if I just dyed water with food coloring, that would not be a chemical change, that would just be a physical change because I did not manipulate the actual molecular structure. And the picture you have here with the ripening banana, that is something chemically going on with that banana over time. And that change in color is showing us that. Formation of a precipitate is also evidence of a chemical change, like cottage cheese. It's actually formed from curdled milk, which is kind of similar to the ripening of a banana in the way that chemical change occurs, but it does rearrange the molecules of milk to form cottage cheese, indicating a precipitate or something else has been formed. And then finally, the formation of a gas is a good indication. Like in this video here of an atomic bomb, you can see lots of light was also given off, and very, very large amounts of gas, obviously dangerous gas. So this is a very, very large chemical change, but nevertheless, anytime you have gas, or like I said, when you bake or cook things, that is a key evidence that there has been some sort of chemical change. Alright, and that is all you need to know at this point about the difference between physical and chemical properties and physical and chemical changes. So please go back to the video if there's anything that you missed. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time.